Wouldn't it be cool to have some kind of unofficial like Inkpulp awards for guests for the best episodes, the best moment?
Okay.
And I would love to. It is already closing his eyes. Like, when Eric does this, like.
And then the glasses come off, you're done. This sounds like an end of the year thing we should do. Like,
yeah, but I was thinking the same, but the end of the year was just yesterday, so we gotta wait for another year.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So let's do it now, whatever.
Are you dying?
That was my last wish. Please
do it. It was the only thing that he fucking wanted, and we were like, can we wait until the end of this year?
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
I'm tired already.
I'm sleepy already.
But it took us 2 hours.
Yeah, we
get a pillow.
To set
I'm
up.
so sleepy.
And we're not actually even using the setup.
No, I had my Mevos with me, my cameras, my good cameras.
Listen, fucking Logitech, we at one point really appreciated and utilized your product, especially these cameras, almost exclusively. Whatever fucking update that you did, it's not that we're incompetent. I swear we know what we're doing. That shit doesn't work. So send us free cameras.
They don't know, but yeah, whatever.
Send us free equipment, and maybe we can, you can sponsor this show because we love this show.
Yeah, I think the cameras.
Otherwise,
okay.
we'll keep shitting.
We're gonna keep shitting on your.
Fuck you, Logitech.
Yeah. Eric, you look like you're carrying a dead body.
I am
like wrapped in some sheets.
I am so.
Because it gets bigger by the hand.
He's hiding his erection.
I am so freaking exhausted right now that it's all I can do. Yeah, it's barely bouncing. It's all
You're exhausted, you said?
I'm exhausted, man. Like, not on top of like us having to wait for a couple hours to set up this whole entire podcast.
Yeah.
Which is, just trying every button. I've been traveling for like 2 or 3 days. I was in LA all of the day before, in and out of LA for under 24 hours, just so I can set up connections and reconnect with a bunch of different people in the industry there. And then I get home, I barely put my head on a pillow, wake up, and I have to fly to Washington D.C., which is it's a good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah,
not many people can do it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm tired.
It's a lot. Do you guys find it like? Maybe it's age, but like getting ready for cons is a whole event now.
I still like it, but I said it a million times, I'm way younger than you guys, so it makes sense. Probably in 20 years I will feel the same that you feel. But look at Eric, ready.
He can't turn it off. He can't turn off the screen.
But yeah. No, in general, what I'm seeing is that I realized after in this last few days before getting ready to leave that because this show, which is AwesomeCon, in Washington D.C., is just a 3-day show, and I've already traveled for almost 24 hours to get here. So now it's Friday morning. We still have to go to the show because it's not even 3 days; it's 2.5 days.
2.5 days
of show.
Yeah, that's right.
And then on Monday morning, I gotta leave.
But this is what you used to do all the time, like Heroes Con.
I used to take a few more days, like around it. You remember Heroes Con? I would go to your place,
and we'd go.
Then we would travel together. So overall, I would spend at least 10 days, or at least a week, in the States. At least that. Here, I'm just spending like literally 3 days. And
listen, I know you're saying like, "Oh, I'm so much younger than you guys," but you're acting like an old fuck, dude. To give context on like, oh, I'm only here for 2.5 days, maybe 3. I used to travel. Like, he just sent us a photo of the first class accommodations that he was flying into.
Because I'm young and rich.
Okay. Yeah, but you're young, you're rich, and you're still an asshole. It's like there's no getting around that we have. We have accommodations now and things that were available. Like we used to sit in coach and just like get through it. So all of these things are basically
some of us still sit in coach and get through it.
But the point is like all of these things that are available to us now, more available to us or less available to us back in the day, and yet we still find room to complain. It's like this thing that my father-in-law told me. It was like, regardless of how big the house that you buy, you're always going to find stuff to put inside of it.
Yeah, and fill
So
it up. And
yeah,
it'll
so
be too
similarly
small.
to what we're talking about, dude. We flew here first class. We're basically being, paid for to be here. You know, 0% of our expenses are very few, short of like our food and all that kind of stuff, coming out of our own pocket. And yet we're sitting here going like, we're only gonna be here for 2.5 days.
You reminded me, in October, we were at New York Comic Con, and I was doing the round, like saying hello to everyone.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Mirka, and it was the end of the show. Mirka Andolfo, she's an amazing artist.
Yep.
And she works her ass off.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
known for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so I got the chance to see her at the table. So I was like, hey, how are you doing? She's like, I hate myself. Every time I destroy it. And I said, and yet, every year, we find each other here.
Yeah.
In the same spot, doing it again every time. So.
And also, here's another key difference, right? Again, we go back multiple decades now, I think. When you walk around a show, or at least, when people come and find you, you're the Matteo Scalera now. You're the Shawn Crystal now, as opposed to
Wait. He is the Matteo Scalera.
Yeah.
You and I are not the. Well, you might be the. But he's
in my heart. I like. To believe
he
that
was
I am.
last night. He was complaining about all the covers he has.
Yeah, but that's not anything new. The point is, like, you've got, again, I always try to contextualize it to be like, we're moaning and bitching, but really, if you take a look at it from the 20 years younger versions of ourselves, this is the thing that we built.
Oh,
You know
dude,
what I
this
mean?
is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I know we
absolutely.
complain, but this is awesome. Like, there's still people I talk to, and it's like like we're so used to like having our travel covered that's not the case for a lot of people.
Sure.
And that's really, I mean, we've earned that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, there's plenty of YouTube channels that I've watched of people who are like talking about, I table at this con. It's my first time. I'm super excited about it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I haven't thought about that concept in a long, long time.
Right.
So it is to say, like, even though you are decades younger than us, you're acting like you're 20 years older than us as far as like you being like a crotchety fuck, like, I don't
No, yeah, definitely.
All right. but here's the thing, you've earned the right to act like a fucking asshole. Yeah. Right?
That's why I do.
This is what
because
success
I feel
does.
entitled to.
Right, yeah.
You're the Matteo Scalera, and
Yeah.
now you're acting like a jerk. Whereas back in the day, you couldn't put two English words together and barely made it out of San Diego alive without sleeping on the side of the road. So congratulations, pal.
Now I can put more word one after the other,
Yeah.
but I never say something smart.
All right, so let's explain.
I don't use this skill for good.
Let's explain how, like, why we've gotten to the point where we're now shooting everything on Shawn's phone.
Yeah, so I packed all my camera equipment, which made my luggage heavy as fuck.
Again,
And-
complaining.
Yeah, I mean, well, we gotta stay on theme.
But listen, it can be both things at the same time, right? He can talk about how it's heavy as fuck, but also be complaining.
Yeah.
So I got the title, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead,
I got
go
the
ahead.
title for
Yeah,
this
go
episode.
ahead.
Oh.
It's a Filipino, a Jew, and an Italian complaining.
Yeah.
Enter a bar and start complaining.
So, but these cameras look great. If you remember the Italy episode from Matteo's
Yeah, that's
studio,
weird because they worked
They
there.
worked amazing.
I mean, you had some technical issues at
It's just
first, but it
setting it
lasted
up,
like
yeah.
20 minutes and then it was
right.
solved.
It's just setting it up. So I turn them on and connect them to the internet, and we're getting a picture. But there are different color lights on the Mevos, so I'm not sure it's recording. And then it says it needs a firmware update, so we update the cameras, and then the app stops reading the cameras, so I'm not getting any picture,
Yeah.
and I can't hit record.
Yeah.
And we spent a good hour on installing apps, removing internets, and nothing worked. So here we are.
So here's the thing. I haven't seen Shawn at that version of frustrated in a little bit, where he is, he's vibrating at a different frequency when
Yeah.
he's frustrated.
His voice gets higher.
Yeah.
His pitch gets higher.
He starts.
Becomes me when I say bye bye. Almost that.
Yeah. He starts arguing with the reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So here's like, why the fuck isn't that connecting? It's like, oh shit, man. Why is the sun shining right now? Why is light coming through the window? It was that version. Like, okay, I think we're just gonna need to accept the fact that we're not gonna be able to use these cameras and somehow find an alternative. Thankfully, this
Yeah.
mixer board, I think you can see it in the shot. This mixer
Yeah.
board is working.
Yeah,
Right?
that's great.
So
that's great.
I think that's the only thing we ultimately need is to find. And even if that didn't work, we'd find some shitty way and let Jamie worry about how to fix it later.
right.
you
We
know?
just did. So this is just more problems for Jamie.
Yeah, that's one more problem. All right.
By the
now-
way, shout out to Jamie. I think he got another
He did.
great gig
Yeah.
He did.
in the comic book podcast.
Yeah.
let's
So-
not every opportunity that Jamie gets, let's
Yeah.
not blow him up. Like, you know what else he's doing right now? Because he might be wanting to be like, hey, let's just keep that shit on the down low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
probably
this-
next episode we're going back to the previous version with just the three of us
Yeah,
all
because
together.
Jamie's like,
because
fuck
Jamie
you
left.
guys.
Like, oh, I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy. Oh, Jamie, by the way, got a new gig,
Right.
and then all of a sudden he's
then we
not
get
with
done.
us anymore.
I told him. I was like, I was congratulating him because he's got 5 shows now. And I was congratulating him, and he was thanking us, saying it all started with us. And I was like, "Look, it's your work got you there,
Yeah.
but just don't start dumping us because some of the podcasts he's doing are hugely successful names."
Hey, man. Hold on. We have the Matteo Scalera.
That's right.
on
I
the
forgot.
show.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of success,
Speaking of
Like-
me,
I thought you were
speaking of
saying-
me and success and great things. No.
did you see that?
We find no.
Literally said we're
now that
with
you're
the
here, what I
Mattel-
like to say.
Okay, all right,
it's
go,
gonna
go.
be something different.
Go.
Okay.
Because now you're thinking every time some bad stuff when I open my mouth, but this one was different. We finally officially monetizing for the show.
Oh, that's right. As of yesterday, I have spent the past 2.5 months submitting my tax information to YouTube to get the money that's been building up into my account, and I just reject like everything I did was there's no one to talk to, so you're just blindly filling out this form over and over, and finally I did something right, and yesterday clicked. This morning we got our first deposit.
Awesome.
So when
how are we going to spend that 35 cents?
right, so what I'm gonna do is when we pay, because we've paid Jamie through March 30th.
Yeah.
So when he invoices us, then I'll deduct what we made from that, and then we'll split the difference.
Okay, so
it's still not enough
The
to pay.
$300,000 difference is gets split between us.
Right,
Okay, awesome.
Right.
Here's the point. The success is
Uh-huh.
we're now monetized, and you
Yeah.
can. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We're still not monetized, and we're still not making enough to pay Jamie.
No,
You know, just
not
just
Way far.
just
Yeah.
just the idea that the let's focus on the victory. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Sean pressed all the right buttons
Yeah, I
now.
did, I did.
Basically, the next 2 clips are for free. The next 2 social clips are for free.
Yeah.
So like if just to pull a number out of thin air, let's say we paid Jamie $500 a month, it'll be $495.
Yeah.
We'll split.
Yeah, then we have to split between the 3 of us. By the way, that doesn't speak towards Jamie's like capability. He's well
no,
worth
no.
every penny.
Oh, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
It's
absolutely.
just that nobody else is finding our show anywhere near worth, so that we can
And
pay our.
let's be fair. Before Jamie, we were $5 poorer.
All right, that's a weird way of thinking about that. All because we didn't press the button. All right, what are we doing here? So Mateo said we're in Washington D.C.
Yep.
Yeah.
the nation's capital. We're here for a show called Awesome Con. Thank you, by the way, to the organizers who invited us out.
The White House that invited us.
Yeah.
I guess to
And,
the president.
Yeah, because that's what we can't pay our producer. But boy, we can be invited out to a fucking thing
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
president. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely.
so thank you very much to the organizers. We'd call you out specifically, but I don't know if you want to keep that behind the scenes. So let's thank the organization and the
Yeah, thank you.
the what do you call it? The people who brought us out, the convention itself. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
We're gonna do our very best to to prevent Shawn from shitting on this show if
We'll
anything
see.
bad
We'll
happens.
see.
Because it's like you want to talk about me as being a downer. If anything in your show goes bad and you invite us in specific, get ready, man. Shawn is a dump truck full of like just criticism that you know. And here's the thing.
I wasn't unfair.
I don't think you were either. But here's the thing. Like there was a bit of it that gave you a tiny bit of a power trip. We won't say which show it was.
A
right?
power
Because-
trip.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll set it up.
Okay.
So we won't say which show it was because that's not really worth. The point is, you got feedback that based on the dump truck of criticism that you gave the organizer in the show, that no professional would ever want to participate in that convention again.
Right. That's what I was told because of my review. No professional.
And I looked at, I thought about that, and I thought like, what kind of fucking credit are you giving Shawn?
Yeah, that's a lot of credit.
But dude, when I looked away just to like, ponder, to like think, to reflect on it, to be like, what kind of juice do you think Shawn has? But I look over to Shawn, and Shawn is twirling his mustache. Because he loves the idea so much that he can wreck a convention just based on the 35 cents of income that we're making.
You know what? I think that from now on, there's gonna be an evaluation system for shows. Instead of the Michelin stars, we're gonna have the Crystal stars.
Yeah, it's the crystal dump truck.
Yeah, okay. So everybody will be, everybody who invites him.
Yeah, the more dump truck icons you get, like the worse that show is. You get a one dump truck.
The best shows get 0 dump trucks?
0 dump trucks. Yeah.
So what is
it goes the other way.
What's a 0 dump truck show that we've done?
I think, New York, it's a 0 for me. Maybe 1 because
it's one dump
expensive,
truck.
Because it's super expensive.
Yeah, I don't love I love going to the show.
Yeah, so now we have to talk about like we have to bracket it, right? Because we can't like go like, oh, do we start including our after hours activities? Hey, the food is amazing, or like the experience.
Yeah, there's various things to evaluate.
Right. New York has its problems. I'm not going to give it 0 dump trucks.
Yeah.
It's going to get 1 or 2.
See, listen,
Two.
you hear that?
2.
I'm not going to give it 0 dump trucks. You hear the way he fucking said it?
You hear me, New York?
Yeah.
You hear me, motherfucker?
City of New York. Now, that's how much power he's got.
I like Mateo with Naples, Shawn with New York. It's just falling apart.
All right,
do we have any 0 dump truck shows?
And by the way, how many is it? Is it like 5 dump trucks, and you're like, that is
5 dump trucks is your.
All right, so let's come up with the categories really quick.
Okay.
What are the things that we're considering when we go to a show and be like, yo, that was one of my...
I think there's we gotta classify into different sections.
Yeah, go.
One is all the inside the show, like the actual show, and the other part is being in the city. Like, for example, New York is amazing to be in New York.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So these two...
Okay, I think we need a third category, the organizers.
Organizers.
Because we can go to a show...
Wait, doesn't that fall into the inside the convention?
Right?
No, because it's how well the convention is one thing, but how well the organizers work with you or treat you as a guest is a separate thing.
That's still the
so that includes like your travel and your hotel and all that.
All right.
Well, but that's inside organization.
Inside the organization.
This is your dump truck.
Yeah, right. We're already trying to put our hands on the system.
Listen, you tell us, and we'll go along with the system. Go ahead.
I think we should have the con experience, the organizer experience, and the city experience.
Okay, that's easy buckets to wrap your mind around.
Yes.
Okay, so based on those 3 buckets, which one
has 0 dump
No, not
trucks?
0,
So
but low.
let's stay on New York.
Yeah,
For
okay.
example, I think that in terms of organization, I mean, I love Mike Negan,
Mike's awesome.
who's the
awesome.
organizer.
Yeah.
Is he still,
think
or
so.
he's changing his job or something?
But let's just say,
don't
let's
know.
keep it like that. When Mike was doing it,
Yeah,
amazing experience.
amazing experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, any Reed Pop show now, they don't give a shit about us.
Right.
to
So
be honest
that's
with you.
why. Right.
Like, I mean, there's the artist alley for New York Comic Con is always amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't. I mean, they even sometimes make us pay for our table.
I always have to. I've never had a free table in New York.
And
This is
also
why
they don't
you
give
come up
us.
with a dump truck system. You're
Yeah,
like-
yeah. That's one dump truck for you, motherfucker.
So yeah, that one, I would say it's not. It's a dump truck star.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're only focusing primarily on how we're involved with the show, right? Because we can't talk about what the floor looks like because we're not involved in any of that,
Right.
right? Like the
Right.
exhibitor halls, we don't go into that space.
Right.
So that's not this sort of like feedback and criticism, however you want to classify it, isn't talking about the entire entity of like a convention. It's like our experience specifically. Okay. All right.
But like, Are we sticking on New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was going to start talking about another show.
No,
Yeah,
if
no,
you-
no, that's
yeah,
finished
go.
New York.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, okay.
in terms of but in terms of there's a lot
Amazing.
of people super busy.
Amazing.
You get contacts for new jobs. And
Yeah,
stuff
the
like
floor
That,
experience at New York is incredible.
Yeah.
The city experience, the outside the show, the meals and everything, incredible.
incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Listen,
I think
Eric hates the show.
We talked about the 5 things. So
Yeah.
it's the city,
yeah,
the accommodations,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
the organization, how
And then-
much they take
yeah.
care of
and
their
then the
guests,
convention,
Yeah.
the convention, you
the
said.
convention
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what else? What did
We said
talk
3.
about?
You started
Yeah,
adding
I
other
don't know
stuff.
where you got 5 from. We said the con experience.
Yeah,
Oh, the
The
costs
the organization
there. All right.
experience
and then
and the city
and then the
experience.
city.
Yeah, no, but out of that, then we have.
Oh no, he's making
overall
subgroups. He complicates everything.
the
Listen,
subculture-
there's a reason why I
subcultures.
don't join you guys in New York is because I disagree with that. That's just personal.
You
Okay?
don't like big.
This is
You don't
I-
like the.
I don't like the big
hubbub,
city.
The,
Yeah.
the
You know,
hustle and bustle
it's
of
not
it. Yeah.
for me. So
Right.
I don't want my if we're gonna go and critique it, my feedback shouldn't be about it. If your frequency is about to be being about in a big city and being alive
Yeah.
in that space, you guys
Yeah.
love it.
Oh well, yeah.
It was over. But when I don't know if it's the same now because it's been a long time since I'm moving on to another
Yeah,
convention.
go for it. Go for
But
it.
like I remember when I first went to Heroes Con,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That to me is like as close to a zero dump truck show that I can think of.
yeah.
right?
I think
Yeah,
you're
that was
right
nice.
about that.
And also Seattle
Sure.
before Repub
Yes,
got
yes.
there. Yep.
That was a 5.
I mean, it's
no
still a
dump
great
truck.
show, but
Yeah.
we lost all that independent part of it, which was
Right.
we're gonna pay for your
Can
travel
I,
expenses.
Right.
Can
the
I point
hotel.
something out?
Yeah.
I think what we're getting at here is when it was a bit more intimate and more importantly we knew the organizers
Yeah.
for the specific
Yeah.
area that we're in. So Jim DeMonaco's needs
Great.
a complete shout out to be
Yeah.
like Jim, he
Shout out,
organized
Jim.
the show.
Great
he knew
job.
how to take care of his
built that
artists,
show, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we love being involved with, we love being involved back in the day when
Yeah.
Jim did that.
Yeah.
And then you just called out Mike, right? So
Yeah.
Mike helping out with New York Comic Con.
Yeah, that
Mike
was great.
always checked in with us at any given time.
Yeah, that's when New York Comic Con, even though it was corporate, Artist Alley felt like an independent show.
Yeah.
But then not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
And then when we went to when we were at Heroes,
Heroes,
And-
Sheldon,
and Rico most specifically,
and Rico,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Rico took
Renzi.
took great care of us.
I would
you know?
say back in the day, the only dump truck I would give Heroes was the city scene after the show. There wasn't a lot of choices to eat,
Dude,
and
but
all
it's
that. It's
picked up,
changed.
though,
no,
now.
that's what I was going to say. Is now Charlotte's got a real nice food scene.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah. And city wise, especially where we were set up at, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it's very
I think it's
easy.
great.
It's
Easy.
very
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very easy to navigate. So did you like? I know you don't like New York. You like big cities, but you seem to like Seattle.
Let's see. Yeah.
It's a quieter city.
Yeah, I think it's much quieter.
Yeah, it's a sleepier.
Yeah,
city.
that's just my speed mostly. It's
Yeah.
like New York gets overwhelming by way of
New York is a
information for me.
lot. It is a lot.
And just getting anywhere takes it's a little bit more taxing,
Oh yeah, it's an event. Like getting out,
Getting out of the
con
convention.
Yeah, that itself. Then you got to go back to your room. You got to scramble to throw on some fresh clothes
Yeah.
and get a cab or an Uber out to dinner, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. But I love it.
You guys have gotten more and more built for it the more you guys go. Like you guys, every time New York is coming around, you guys are giddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
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 You guys get super
I mean,
excited.
I start planning the meals like a month and a half before.
Well, we've already planned the flights. And
Yeah,
the
Mateo
hotel
and I
room,
got the hotel room already for
la-
New York.
You did?
a month
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fucking A.
because you have to jump
you
on
have
it
to now.
early.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the room. Mateo, you got the flight already?
I got the flight.
Oh wow, yeah. We're jumping on it.
God
Got it
bless
out of the
both of
way.
you.
Eric, you should go to New York.
I'm
Yeah.
not going.
No,
I'm
but
not going.
what we need to do is we've talked about this. We need to do Thought Bubble this year.
Yeah. I've never
Thought
been.
Bubble would
I've
be
never
nice.
been either.
Yeah.
I did.
You have,
I
yeah?
did it twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yes.
But they
I've-
moved it, so I don't know how.
You haven't been to the new location? Is
so,
it
So it's a brand new virgin experience for you.
so when you went it was in Leeds?
It
Or-
was in Leeds.
and
yeah.
Where is it now?
I don't know, but they moved. I don't know if they move it. The city, like
The
they
venue
moved
they
the
changed.
venue,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I think it's in a neighboring city of Leeds. I don't think it's in Leeds anymore.
All right. Either way, it's well worth because I've never gone
Yeah,
before.
and then if we go, let's like hang out in London for a couple days.
All right. Well, I mean, I say yes now, but I don't know. I gotta.
Yeah, everything
Well,
is
I'm
always
saying let's try to make it let's try to plan it.
everything
Yeah,
is
the
always
problem is that-
tempered with what's happening at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course.
And
Yeah,
here's,
yeah,
and here's
obviously.
an added sort of layer that people don't seem to see. Like when we first started in this convention scene, when people were like, "Actually, we find you worthy to start paying for you to come to these places,"
Yeah.
we were like 20 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
like the fucking things that we were worried about back in the day was mostly like, "Oh, we've never been to this restaurant or this city.
Right.
We've never like you guys. Well, you guys are still shopping like idiots." But like, you know, oh, we've never shopped at this place before. We've never had these kinds of experiences. Oh, look at like when we pulled into Washington D.C., you were doing the touristy thing because you used to be from this place.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, there's the Capitol. There's the
Yeah,
this
yeah,
monument,
yeah.
that monument. Like those are the kinds of things that we were into.
Yeah.
We spent the better part of our breakfast today hanging out, talking about our kids. You know,
Yeah.
and talking about
Yeah.
like our family experiences. So we're in different places now.
Absolutely.
So the things that qualify for our enjoyment over something has transformed into a lot of different things. you know, so-
Absolutely.
So it's all of those things for me are informed. So when you say something like, let's go hang out in London for a couple days or whatever, in my head, I'm all like, my wife's not going to let me fucking get away with
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Well, especially because it's close to New York, so I'm already leaving to go to New York.
Yeah.
So if I had
Yeah,
to
but-
leave again,
Yeah,
a
20
month
years
after that-
20 years ago, you wouldn't
Oh,
care.
yeah.
You'd be
Yeah,
like,
no,
whatever.
no,
New York,
no,
we'll
no.
do this, we'll do that.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I did back
You
then.
see, this is
like,
what happens
doing
though when
a
your
lot of
kids
shows.
get older. Like my kids are older, so like I'm back in that headspace now. I'm
Yeah.
like, get me the fuck away from them for
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
days.
Well, it's not it's not to say that just go fucking by yourself, John. I mean,
No.
Sean.
I want to hang with you guys. That's the whole point.
Go find new friends that have older kids that you don't need to worry about.
No. I don't want-
We got young ones at home for crying out loud.
I know, but if we can make it happen, that'd be a nice trip.
Here's the overall benefit. Now we're a little bit more discerning when we choose, right? I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Right? But still, the thing that gets me out to a show, minus New York, is you guys like, hey, we're gonna go meet up at this place.
Right.
Right. And I go like, okay, as long as those guys are there,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys still take into. I know you do, Maddie. Right? There's a cutoff for you when you go like, I don't know if the business of being there for me makes a lot of sense, but I think that's
Yeah.
important because you're flying across an ocean
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
there.
that's the
yeah.
problem
Right.
now, especially
Yeah.
because I only fly 2 times a year
Yeah.
to the States
Yeah.
to a show.
Yeah.
So it must be, convenient economically for
Yes.
me to be there. I mean, this one is a question mark
Yep.
for me because I've never done this
Right,
show
yeah.
before. So
Yep.
we'll see how it goes. Like so far, the travel expenses are paid for.
But let's full transparency. That was one of the bigger things that we said. Hey, if we're going to get together, because at one point we were thinking about going to Kansas City, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hey, let's go to Kansas City. That's a good
Yeah.
hangout place.
Right.
Jim Mahfood, our good friend Jim Mahfood, is there now.
Yeah.
And then the moment this place said, "Hey, we'll spot your
Yeah.
your accommodations and your flight," it made it easier for us, right? Because
Oh,
we're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's,
Definitely.
zero out of pocket expenses. So we kind of
Right.
We
Well,
kind of
also-
shifted.
that shifted.
Yeah.
the
Well, it
decision.
shifted it also because we were trying to get the same thing from Kansas City. We just weren't hearing back from them.
Yep.
And DC was getting to the point where like we need an answer, and we just
He's already shitting.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
you?
we had radio
you know-
silence.
you know-
We're not gonna get invited to Tennessee and now to Kansas City. Thank you, Shawn.
I'm just saying
Thank
you can earn back that you can get rid of that dump truck. It's a temporary dump truck. There was just a communication
You can
error
hear it
there.
beeping in
And
the
the
far
blackmail.
background.
What?
It's blackmailing.
You can now you have a dump truck star, but if you respond to email next
Remember,
time, maybe that dump
I
truck
have
star
the
goes
power.
away.
That's
you
right,
know?
because I have the power, and you might find yourself in a situation where there's where there's no artist wanting to do your show.
By the way, are you recording? Did you press the record button, or are we just talking into these microphones?
Yeah, I know. No, the I see the.
No, I'm talking about on the mixer because it's being recording
Yeah,
on the.
yeah, we're recording.
All right, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
This is good material, and heaven forbid you didn't press the go
Is the
button.
mixer recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you can tell because I can see the what do you call it?
The counter moving.
No, not just the counter, but obviously like the little
The bars
The bars,
going
yeah.
up?
Oh yeah.
All right, so yeah, please don't manipulate and terrorize organizations, because technically they don't want you and me, right? They want Maddie.
Mateo's our secret weapon.
Yeah. Maddie is like Mateo is like the fucking skeleton key that opens all doors, and we are riding your fucking coattails into these
Absolutely.
shows. So by association, when Shawn, by the way, the flip side is also true. When Shawn dumps on a show, it is just splattering shit all over you too.
Yeah,
you know?
because I'm not going to lose anything from it. It's going to only hurt him.
But yeah, but another criterion, another thing that I use is that if I know that there's gonna be people that I know,
That's
there,
true.
Yeah.
like that's a must.
Yeah.
Like,
What
do you mean?
me.
Give me an
me,
example.
Me and my friends and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're still talking about a weekend,
Yeah.
And for me, like, weekends now are sacred.
Yeah.
So if I have to decide I'm gonna spend the weekend working at a show, at least after the show is done, every day I gotta meet up with my friends
Yeah.
and spend time with
yeah.
them.
Let me follow up on that. Hold that thought, Shawn. I know that it's really
go ahead,
that's
go
really
ahead.
really super important, and I don't want to lose track of what Mateo just said. Like, it may seem like, oh, you guys are getting paid for and yada yada, right? Like, great. That's obviously we are, and it's a privilege that we're this really like well positioned privilege that we put ourselves in with all the work, but it is still work.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely,
There's no
definitely.
version in which, well, maybe not you, Shawn, maybe not you, Mateo. Like, sometimes I catch myself just sitting in the fucking table, like at the table, just high fiving people and like going getting candy and bringing it back.
Yeah.
Right. I've been out of the comic book scene, so it's not as impactful. But between the both of you guys are busting your ass for 3.5 days, 2.5 days.
it's
Yeah.
tiring for me, but at the same time, it's a kind of work that I like
Yep.
because it's different than the work that I do
For
at
sure.
home.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I still like performing live.
Yeah.
Like I like doing the commissions
Yeah.
live, even though it's really tiring because and it's not easy because I still use the same tools that I use at home. So
Yeah.
I bring my brushes and
Yeah,
everything.
me
And
too.
if there's a lot of people like in New York, I constantly have to stop myself
Yep.
and then shaking a hand or
Yep.
just doing an autographs on a book
Yep.
or talking to somebody that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So it's kind of frustrating at times,
Yep.
especially if I know that I gotta finish a lot of work. But in general, it's different work than the work that I do at home.
And I'll say this: it is the version of work that we chose, right? So
Yes.
we're talking about it, but we don't want to ever. Me personally, I never want to put a spin on it where we're complaining.
No,
because
no,
it's
no,
like
no.
we are in such a great position to be like, oh, people are inviting us out and they're
Right.
putting us up, and now we get to hang out with our friends and go into the
Yeah.
city. Like,
And-
we can talk about it can potentially have like negative connotations, but we're not coming from that place, right?
In fact, quite the opposite. I think that the reason we've kind of gravitated towards having these like amazing dinners is like we're gonna go bust our ass and work all day, and then we're gonna go celebrate like what we've done that day at night and hang out and have an amazing dinner.
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll say this. This is just for me, okay? Like there are times when we are at these conventions where I don't even remember the convention component of it.
Yeah.
Right? I remember us
Yeah.
hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I'll remember us like, doing stupid shit in the morning and in the evening or
Right.
whatever it is. But it's rare that I'll be like, oh, do you remember that drawing that I did on the,
Right.
like.
But I also gotta say, sorry to interrupt,
No, go
but
ahead.
it's in regards to what you were saying. I gotta say that in this last few years, we haven't seen each other at shows, basically, except for a few occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
lately, I've noticed that you were spending less and less time at the table. But you would
Yeah.
prefer to come upstairs in the hotel room and finish your commissions
Yeah.
at the table. So
Yeah.
I think you were kind of, and feel free to say no.
Yep.
This is a stupid observation, but
Yep.
I think you were feeling more and more detached from shows.
Yeah.
if it makes sense.
That's true.
Is that true?
That's true. So this is from my personal experience. I started finding less and less enjoyment being at conventions, like that rush. Like you were saying, like, dude, even though I'm working and I'm drawing and I'm using the same tools but in a different environment, you still found enjoyment in that.
Hold on.
Sorry, dude.
Pause.
We're busy. Hopefully she.
You got-
you guys go ahead. I'll go.
Look at that, dude. We're in a room and they're servicing the room.
So yeah, you saying?
Hold on.
Can you come back in a couple hours? Yeah. She didn't like that.
She said, "Don't. Hey, listen. You guys are part of my
Well, she
my
can't
schedule.
just not clean up the room.
Yeah,
That's
she
it.
doesn't have to.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
it's
what I
less
said.
work for her.
That's what.
Yeah,
That's what
but
you
she
just
didn't
make
like
sense.
that. She didn't like when I said that. I was like, if you can't come back in a couple hours, don't worry about it.
And what she do?
She gave me an ice grill.
Listen, this is the
She was
dumb
not
truth.
happy.
Sean just not like I need the world to be the way I need it to be. Come back
Are
later.
you gonna give like a dumpster
truck.
star?
Oh,
to,
shit.
To the hotel now.
No, I'm just gonna give it to her.
Just to her.
She gets one
Ask her
dumpster.
for her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So the point was that when you were, you still find enjoyment into it.
Yep.
I found less and less.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta be honest with you. Like day 3 or 4, when I'm really tired, if I overworked, I can
Yeah.
see myself
But see-
being less and the
But see
whole
the
thing being
caveat that
less
you're talking
enjoying.
about. You got to be the third or fourth day.
Yeah.
You're overworked.
For you,
Right.
it was
That makes
right
sense.
away.
In the very beginning, I already started going like, I don't think I'm getting as much personal, professional
Yeah.
value out of being at these shows.
Yeah.
So I started like not doing them as many times, and
Yeah.
it would take something like. Think about like what situation that got me out here hanging. Like I remember for one day, I just wanted to hang out with you guys, so I flew into Seattle.
Yeah.
And like,
Right.
hey, let me hang out for a day and let's go have breakfast, but I'm going to go fly right home. I went to the show because of you guys. And this one in specific, we hadn't seen each other since Como last
Yeah,
year.
coma.
Yeah. Cool.
For me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought like, I haven't seen Shawn and Mateo since like last year around this time. Let me go see them.
I saw you in Nashville, or in Memphis.
And the three of us together.
Right.
The three of us
now,
together.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my point. It's like if there happens to be another show, like you had to introduce Thought Bubble to me,
Right.
and even that, I'm all like, man, I don't want to, let me think about it. It wasn't automatic like, yo, me and Mateo and Shawn are going to be like,
Yeah, but like 2 weeks ago, you're like, hey, let's do Thought Bubble.
yeah, then I had to rethought it.
So you're not
Like
gonna do Thought Bubble.
No, it's not that. I planted the seed in your head. You get amped. This is pretty much on brand. You know what I mean? Like I give you a little tiny bit of an idea, and you're like, you fucking blah, right? And then Mateo doesn't know about it, and so Mateo gets like, okay, let me consider it. And then because I'm the one that did it, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go. And you're like, you fucking asshole! You got us all excited about like, is this not on brand for what I do?
Yeah,
right,
it's
or what
very
we
on
do?
brand,
Okay.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. I know you've been finding less enjoyment in shows, but it seems to me that you've started returning to smaller shows from more of your publishing venture side of things,
Yeah, that's
and
been
you
a lot of
found
fun.
excitement in that.
Yeah, because of those connections that I'm making on a one-on-one basis, not
Right.
necessarily because I've built up whatever commissions thing that I used to do.
Right,
It's not
right.
based on that anymore. It's a different brain space that I need to get into.
Yeah.
Which is like going back into, hey, nobody knows me, nobody knows my effort. Let me go and engage with as many people as possible. That gives me a different sort of like fatigue at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I find more personal fulfillment out of it.
Yeah.
You know-
So do you think that you're like right now the mental space you're into
Yeah.
is like you have to, and then the fulfillment comes after doing it, or you feel like you wanna do it and you need to do it?
No, I think I'm like excited by it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm excited by going to a smaller show, not knowing full well not people don't know me for being a publisher, and then engaging in that space as opposed to, hey, I've got a commissions list open.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what Eric's going to experience at this show that he hasn't experienced yet is the popularity of the podcast and being sitting. Because remember New York.
Oh, New
It was
York
just-
was amazing.
It was
man.
it was constant,
Yeah.
and so Eric hasn't gotten to experience it yet. So I'm
But-
hoping here he might.
It might. We'll see. We'll see, because this is not New York, so
right,
we'll
but
see.
even in.
So we'll add a new star.
Okay.
For
the podcast
for
gets-
podcast fans.
Oh,
How many
okay.
podcast
And-
fans are gonna be at the show? You see how excited
Yeah.
Eric is.
He just wants to hit like
You know
taking
the-
off the screen.
I know the thing is the podcast. I remember when we first started it, right?
Yeah.
And you guys were getting like super professional about it, which, by the way, has added a level of polish to this thing. We can't
That's
shout
not
out
that
Jamie
polished,
enough,
but
right?
Yeah, Jamie does great work.
Right, but
yes.
like just the overall sort of like approach. Obviously, people talk about our our camaraderie, right? Like the organic way that we talk.
Yeah.
Like you guys were honed in on that right away. Even asked Mateo, hey, are we making these decisions because we want this thing to be, we genuinely feel like it's a general benefit, or is it because we're seeing other people do it and we think that we need to infuse? Like, I really wanted to ask those questions, but at the end of the day, it's just me talking to you guys. You guys do all the heavy lifting when it comes to putting the added sort of like flair to it, you know? So whenever I think of it out of the context of us just talking, like, you know, when you're setting up a camera, I'm like, okay, fine, this is part of the podcast.
Right.
When we're messing up whatever it is, you know, when we're talking about bringing equipment, when we're talking about like, hey, how many people, you know, when you're talking analytics, that's all I can do not to have my eyes stuck in the back of my head because I roll them so much. So when you talk about its popularity, we got so much great, hey, I'm walking across the street, Mateo, we love the fucking podcast, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations. But in my head, I'm all like...
Well, like what you're feeling about your publishing venture, like I feel like we're three good friends who created something together. So to see people excited about that is exciting to me.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I'm not tuned into that energy.
No,
I'm not by the way, I'm not diminishing it. Right? Everybody who's listening, but let me be clear. Thank you so much for listening, because half of the time we stutter our way for an hour and a half, right? Like, thank you very much for being here. I've read a handful of the comments, and most of them are incredibly positive. They love you guys for whatever reason. Oh, Mateo's so great. Shawn, I can't believe I like your laugh. I don't know what they say about you. Really, honestly, I skip right over it. But I see the Mateo comments all the time. But it's not in my head to be...
And you see Shawn's reply every time, which 99% of the time it's just lol.
Yeah, it's lol.
Well, I'm spending so much of my day responding to every message on every platform. It's like, sometimes they're just jokes. It's like, I don't know what to say. That was funny.
But
you, after we criticized you for the lolling too much, I see you're starting doing like ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. You guys did get me on that one.
You feel self-conscious about it.
It's like you trick something in my head, and I'm like, I can't do lol. I do ha 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 now.
Sometimes ha 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 lol.
Yeah, because they called me a dummy for using like limited vocabulary, and they're like, and then I said LOL, and they're like, see, and I was like, fuck.
I really appreciate the time and effort that the people who listen to the show, the feedback that they give us. I am not exposed to it in the context that you guys are talking about, where we're at a show and somebody goes, love the podcast, right? Yeah. And by the way, in my head, and I don't know what it is, in my head, when they say love the show, I always go like, that's cool that Shawn and Mateo are doing really well with that show.
I'm also surprised by the fact that there's a lot of professionals that tell us that they listen to the podcast. And it's weird because usually, like, we don't even, like, often we don't read each other books, but the podcast somehow puts us in a different dimension. Yeah. So they make them want to, listen to us. And it's weird because it takes more time to listen to an episode of a podcast than actually read a comic book,
But no, hold on. I think the key difference there is
you can do it while you're working.
Yeah, one version is you're engaging with it, right? Like, and the other one is very passive, where you're just like listening to three idiots talk. Idiots talk.
Three
but again, the fact that there's so many podcasts to listen to, and still there's people that decide to listen to this one.
Here's one that trips me up is when they say like, "I love how you guys get like real and raw in that podcast." I'm like, do we? Yeah. Do we say real and raw shit?
We'll limit each other. Like, we're limited ourselves.
There's a lot we don't say. Dude, there's a version of this podcast in which we just fucking unleash. Where I'm like, oh, we can't say that live. There are awful jokes that we tell to each other, but also when we go and actively pick on specific individuals or like business practices of them, like, we can't say that out loud because that's really, really poor. That's probably something we could put on the Patreon and just be like, hey, we're going to put it behind a paywall. We're going to do a version of this podcast where we go like, oh yeah, we're just going to take the chains off and like, yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
All right, it is to say, I'd like to be able to see it. If there are fans of this podcast, I mean, this is not going to come out until way after the show, but moving forward, right? If you listen to this podcast in whatever capacity, and it doesn't have to be in New York, tell Mateo and Shawn what a great job they're doing.
Or we can ask Jamie, since it's not gonna be needing editing or of any type. It's just audio and one video track. Could just post it on YouTube.
If we
just give him the file and it'll just post it as soon as possible.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't need editing or anything. So
he's gonna probably mess with the sound. He
okay.
doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got to put the intro on it.
No, yeah, right. Fuck. Whatever.
I like the fact that you don't know how your own podcast works. You know that money.
Just
you know that money that we're
just
paying
put it on
Jamie.
the YouTube.
That goes to something. He just
Right.
Okay, you guys. Thank you. I'll just press this go button.
This one is to put the thing in the computer. This other one is to put it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the Wi-Fi when it.
We've kept
the
interrupting you,
Wi-Fi.
Shawn. What were you talking about? You have 3 or 4 points.
I did 3 or 4 points about what?
Anything that we were talking
Well,
about.
no. What I was going to say is, I just today that we're recording this, since we're talking about Jamie, Jim's new show launches
today.
Yeah, I just saw an ad for it, and Jamie edits that one too.
Yeah.
So definitely, guys, go watch Jim's new podcast.
How many weeks did we do? How many weeks ago did we record that one
with Jim?
Yeah,
that was 3 weeks ago.
Holy fuck, that felt like yesterday.
We probably should say Jim Mahfood because there's a lot
Jim
of Jims in the world.
So. Yeah, I just assume you all are part of the family here.
You know, I've noticed there's a thing that we do sometimes, and I think we should change it, but I don't know.
Go.
Like a lot of times, I've already spoke about it privately with you. Like sometimes we go into the episode, especially when we have guests, without explaining stuff.
Like what do you mean?
Yeah, like for example, we're talking about I don't know, like with Francis.
Yeah,
we're talking about the podcast and it's the new project, but we're not naming what the thing was.
Right.
Like the name of the new initiative, the name of the new podcast, the name of the new.
No, we set that up with Francis. We literally said.
Well, probably with Francis was better, but it happened a few times here and there.
Yeah, no,
that we just started talking about. Oh yeah, because the pages of blah 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 were like, and without explaining to the people.
Yeah, we should do a better job of the setup at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, should we? Let's ask the
maybe
the audience. Maybe they don't
guessing.
give a shit.
Yeah, maybe they don't care. Yeah. Maybe that's the charm of the show.
Yeah, that we don't. We invite people on, talk to them about their project, and not really talk to them about their project. Here's another one. And I don't know
if you know this. I always try, like even with Nick Pitara.
Yeah, you do.
I was like, oh, by the way, and the compliment was 100% sincere. I genuinely liked the book, but good. I took the occasion to say it so that we can name the project.
Yeah,
so I was like, by the way, I've just read like the 2 days ago, Axe Wilder John, trying to
you did good. You did good with that.
I like when you say that though. Whenever, not just exclusive to Nick, but just every project that you hype, you look right into camera. You go like, Axe Wilder John, and you go,
Axe Wilder John.
Yeah. Like just you break fourth wall and just to like command people. Here's another thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Are we having too many guests on?
Lately, yes, but there's a reason for that, because remember, you were not gonna be on for a little bit, so Mateo and I were like, let's get some guests on.
Let's give some context to that, just so people are like, what do you mean Canetti's not going to be fucking on?
Okay.
For a while there, I was in a different headspace again.
Yeah, you were going through something.
Yeah, and I thought, like, there is no way I'm going to be able to represent us well. I'm already fucking it up every time that I show up. But can you imagine me being more dour and, like, darkness? You know what I mean? Like, the red light behind me.
Yeah, imagine that.
It would just be
there was no light behind him.
Yeah. It's just like a...
Just glowing red eyes in a sea of black.
So I wasn't in the right headspace, to be like, man, I can't be on that show. I mean, like I said, I wasn't feeling it, and so you guys went into like, okay, well, let's plan how we're going to work this.
Yeah,
if you're not going to be on.
We recorded a couple, just me and him, and we were like, are people just going to get tired of us? Because we balance each other out very well, but it's just me and the dum-dum.
It's just
not balance happening.
Yeah.
So we invited some guests on. So as of last week, we don't have another guest for a while. So it's one a month now.
So it's a good question to ask to the audience, to be like, hey, do you I'm going to guess the answer is like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Right?
I think they like the dynamic between the three of us, but they also like I see like the response in terms of views and stuff like
Yeah,
that
the guests
when we
help.
have guests,
Yeah.
and
So-
they're really curious to listen to guests.
so
So,
let
I
me
think
ask-
it's I think they don't have a real preference. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
ask officially, probably some people would say
Right.
that they like the dynamic between us, and some other people
The
would
plan
say
now.
that-
Yeah.
Let's see how the audience feels about this. The plan now is we record 4 a month, 3 of us, 1 with a guest.
Yeah. Here's why I asked that question, right?
Yeah.
Because it goes to what Mateo was talking about, right? Which is like when we have a guest on, there's a compulsion to like make sure that everybody gets context why the guest is on,
Right,
if they have something to
right.
hype and blah blah blah. Like, I hate it. Right? I hate the idea that we're going to be like doing this, you know. Hey, here's what they're. And no, and
Well-
I hate it, but I know why it's important. Do you see the difference? Like, it's
Yeah,
not. I hate it.
no.
Yeah.
But to back you up, I have people reaching out because they want to hype something. I'm like, that's not what our show is.
Right.
We usually have a guest because what they're doing professionally, not hyping their project,
Right.
but like self-publishing
Right.
endeavors or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what we want to
and
talk
of course, if the guest is there, we'll try to talk about the project,
Right.
and
But
put
we
a
don't try to
spotlight on
time it.
But that's not the goal,
about. Right.
Of the show.
Like we're
Yeah.
not like, oh, you have a book coming out on
Yeah.
June 10th.
Yeah.
We'll record an episode and release it on June 9th.
Yep.
Like, no, we don't do that.
So, but see, here's the thing. Here's the part where I caught myself doing it when we were in, and I love Jim, you know.
Right.
But when Jim's sketchbook was coming out, we took an extra step to be like, hey, let's talk about Jim's sketchbook. It's good context. Don't get me wrong. I think it's important. But
Right.
there's also a part of me that was like, I just like hanging out with you guys because I like hanging out with you guys,
Yeah.
and Jim happens to be there.
Right.
But there's and again, I want to underline it's important that we bring these guys on. We manage to talk about the stuff that they're doing because it's important to them and it's important for us to help support whatever the
Yeah.
cause is. But there's that disconnect for me where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we're doing the episode.
You
where
know, I
we're-
understand. For
Yeah.
a moment, you get out of the nature of
Right.
why the
That's it.
podcast
And-
was
and I agree
born,
with Eric
basically.
on
Yeah.
that.
So
I don't want-
I understand. With Jim, I would always do an exception because
Right,
Jim is a
that's what I was
really
gonna
great
say.
friend of
Yeah.
us. So
Jim is
no
one of
matter-
us.
and I don't think it did the episode to
No,
know
we
to
just
advertise
haven't,
his
but-
thing.
yeah.
It just happened that
Jim
he
is
had
like
a new
one of us.
podcast and
Yeah.
a new sketchbook.
Right.
So.
So, like,
by
if
the
Eric
way-
has a book coming out, we're gonna hype sales on it.
Yeah, and
Well,
by
yeah.
the way, this rare, it's few and far. I can't even count how many times it's happened, but it's few and far between it in which somebody has reached out to me. They reached out to you, Shawn, but they reach out to me and like, hey, I have a new project coming out. Let me talk about it on your show. It's more like, hey, I love the podcast, and then we extend them the
Yeah.
courtesy of
Yeah.
like,
Courtesy
like
of, yeah.
hanging
Yeah,
out,
yeah, that-
and then we go, hey, by the way,
Right,
as a matter of fact,
right,
in the email that we send out to you, I specifically say, is there something that you want to talk about at the top of the
Right,
show? Because the way the algorithm works, we have the people's attention for like the first 3 or 5 minutes, and then eventually the click through rate prevents people from getting to the end of the show, right? So I say that up front because I know that's the thing that we're trying to optimize for,
Yeah.
right? And then we can bullshit thereafter. But there's also a part of me that's like, man, I wish we just hang out and chit chat in the show like we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at
And-
the same time, like following what Nick Pitara was saying in the previous episode,
Yeah.
it's great to create a kind of network
Yeah.
between
I agree.
us,
I agree.
Right.
so that we also, while shooting the shit, we also trying to promote each other work. I think
Yeah.
it's a positive thing,
Yeah.
which reconnects to what you were saying, your premise. Like
Yeah.
you understand the importance of it.
Yeah,
so I
that's
think
why
we,
to
we
me
should
I'm
keep
at
that as well.
conflict about
Yeah.
it, right? And so now it's finding the right sort of balance and slider to be like, we've had guests on, and again, it was predicated upon me saying, hey, maybe I'm not going to be doing
Yeah.
as many episodes. You
Right.
guys went into planning mode about how to facilitate me
Yeah.
not being there. So it all comes from that. But at some point where I'm like, hey, this is not something I'm super hyped up about.
Yeah.
Not because of the guest, but because of the exercise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I mean, to that point, like it's March 7th. We don't have a guest till like April 10th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, just the fact that we're talking about it, so openly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we're not being insincere or anything. Or we're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes it happens that some guests will.
Yeah, sometimes.
will probably have
Yeah.
a project that comes out around the time where the episode comes out. So and we find worth it creating
Sure.
a network.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it's
By the way, it's not a reflection on the guest at all. This conversation is about like,
Oh, no,
this is like
not at
boring
all.
people and they're not
not
worth
at
their
all.
time.
It's
That's
that
not-
you'll end up being in those situations because again, we keep we talk with people that work in the industry.
Yeah.
So it might happen that sometimes, for example, again, Jim
Yeah.
was just it happened that he was releasing his
Right.
podcast and
Right.
he's releasing
Yeah.
his new sketchbook. So
Right.
why we take a couple of minutes or a time on the show.
And sometimes, like, I'll just get DMs from like other pros who we're friendly with, and I'm just like excited to have them on. So like,
Yeah.
I could get like 3 DMs, and then all of a sudden we have 3 guests in a row. So
Yeah.
that can happen.
Yeah,
too.
no, that can happen. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I propose something?
Yeah.
Because Shawn, do you remember when I came on the show for the first time?
Yeah, like when we recorded in the hotel room in Seattle.
No, this version of the podcast.
When it was us 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
When was it?
It was.
He's testing you right now. When did we get together, Shawn? When's our
you and I were-
anniversary?
What was the first gift that you gave to me?
When did we start
we
dating,
started-
Shawn?
Music was playing.
we started doing the 3 of us in the late summer last year, I believe it was.
Late summer. So it hasn't been a year yet.
No.
Of me being on the podcast. Okay. Because I wanted to propose something. I
What's
was thinking
that?
about it this morning. I don't know why. I woke up at 4. I had a lot of free time to think about shit.
Yeah.
You woke up before, masturbated
He
for
wants
5
us to
minutes.
celebrate his anniversary.
at 4
No, not me. But
No, he woke up at 4, masturbated for 5 minutes. So at 4:05, he did some official thinking.
I had to get that out.
so wouldn't it be cool to have some kind of not official? Okay, Eric is gonna hate this.
So let's do it.
Unofficial like Inkpulp awards for
Okay.
guests
Okay.
for the best episodes, the best moment.
Okay,
and I
like-
would love to. He's already closing his eyes. Like, when Eric does this, like, and then the
glasses
second
are off.
move is like,
And then the glasses come off. You're done. You're done.
I'm still listening, though, I promise.
for like we could involve the listeners
Okay.
in creating categories
Categories. Yeah.
for the awards, like
This
best
sounds
guests,
like
best
we should-
episode,
yes,
more
this-
informative episode.
This sounds like
more-
an end of the year thing we should do. Like,
yeah, but I was thinking the same. But the end of the year was just yesterday, so we're gonna wait for another year.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's do it
That's
now.
no, that's not bad. I mean, let's get a couple more notches under our belt, and as far as like
Yeah.
what people can expect from us, and then
Yeah.
we'll do it end of 2024.
Yeah. Let's do it at the end of this
Yeah.
year. So we'll have, instead of a year, we'll
Are
have
you
a year
dying?
and a half.
No,
Do we need to do that? Like, it sounds like you want it
All right.
done sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Go ahead. Give
That's
your
always-
award. Give
that
your
was
award.
my last wish.
It was the only thing that he fucking wanted, and we were like, "Can we wait until the end of this year before you die from high blood pressure?"
No, let's do it. Let's do it at the end of the summer when we started this 3 people venture.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. We'll have like an Inkpulp like thing. It won't be during the holidays.
So
I'll do some research.
Even the audience will have time to think about fun categories.
Categories. So yeah, you guys tell us what are they, the Inkpulp awards?
You tell Shawn how
The
to run
Inkpulp
his
Awards.
show.
Yeah, for
Okay.
you
Or
know
the
the standard
bot
ones are
awards.
gonna be best guest
We'll
or
have
best
best
episode.
bod. We need best bod.
Best bod.
Yeah.
We'll have best bod.
I already.
so
I mean,
we'll have
we've
to
got
pick
a couple, but
Yeah.
but there's one that might
Yeah.
have to
What did you just say? Best what?
bot.
bot. The people.
Bod?
Bot. The,
Like
the
what?
the people that we pay to listen to the
Oh,
podcast.
fuck. All right.
Because those are our fans.
Okay, I heard 2 things. All right, I heard best bod, and I'm like,
Okay.
are we judging bodies to the people who've been on this show? And the other one's like best pot, and I thought like, what the fuck? Have we talked about pot at all in this show?
Well, I mentioned it, but that's just me being me.
All right, best pot and best bod. All right, I'm on board.
So yeah, best bot. It's a nice one. So it's
Yeah.
the one that we
Yeah, we
we're gonna be
decide.
the ones deciding, and then we can come up with some we can be involved in that, like best guest.
Yeah,
we can
best guest.
come up with the 3 best for us.
Yeah, yeah.
like and
I just can't like. Hey, listen. we are going to be judged. We're going to
I
be
see you, and you're like really supportive, like this, and I see him.
We gotta.
we're going to be judging our fucking guests. Did you show up? Did you give us the thing that we need?
Not in those terms. In fun terms, like I enjoyed it. For example, for I was thinking about it this morning. Like probably the Jeff Parker. The Jeff Parker, I really liked it because I felt, and it probably was the right day for me. I was really involved and really, because for me,
you slept, you had a good breakfast.
No, but for example, like we spoke recently about, for example, fuck. I'm blanking on the name.
Here we go.
Which is
best
my
God.
Declan. No, Declan's episode.
Okay.
You remember that for the first 20 minutes, it was silent because my brain was clunky, was not working. You know, I remember being really present for a series of things that were out of my control. I was really present in that episode. So I remember. I remember it really fondly. I have a fond,
that was a great episode.
Memory of that podcast. So it doesn't have to be because Jeff Parker is a better guest, but I really enjoyed.
So I think that's a good. That's a good.
What did you say?
You said Jeff Parker. That's
Jeff Parker.
Jeff is a different creator.
Jake Parker. Sorry,
Jake Parker.
Sorry, Jake, and sorry, Jeff.
He just fucked up that award.
Or for me, like another amazing one was Michelle Sarasakor. I really enjoyed it. I was super present in the moment. She was really engaging. So
that was
just
me and you on that one.
So can we do, what do you call it, instead of like best guess, it's like the one that's memorable for us as individuals, like
memorable. I meant it that way. Yeah, thanks for
and we need a category
specifying
Eric's most annoying moment, where he can pick the worst moment of the show that he.
Oh yeah.
The one
it's every
my best joke,
episode.
my worst joke. My worst joke.
So here's the thing about that, and I already hate the idea. Okay, let me just say that. As soon as I hit the stop button, I dump everything that we talked about. So sometimes when Jamie puts together the clips of us talking and it's all funny, I don't remember recording it at all. I'm just like, oh, that was funny. That was good.
That doesn't matter. You can make on the awards.
Here's
you
the
don't
part
have to be so serious
so if
about
I hate it, and here's what makes it hate it more, right? I have to go revisit it now.
That's perfect.
You know what I mean? Like I go like, oh, when was the dumbest thing that you guys?
That feeling.
Oh my gosh, because that would put pressure on me to go back into the episodes and be like, I had to understand that in context what that stupid joke was, and I don't remember. I remember more of the good stuff that we did, which is like in my head is like 4 things. Like we've been together for almost
easy to remember.
It's easier.
Eric can remember the good moments because they're few and far between.
Yeah, but the stuff that I can't stand, where I'm just like rolling my eyes, going, this is taking way too long for us to get through this. I'll say I can right off the top of my head, I know a series of things that I can't stand. Every time that you guys tried to get clever about like cosplaying as each other, every time that's got to be near top 3.
Yes.
And the top 3 are like the 3 times that you guys did it. Top 3 for me. And I'm like, this is so
The best one was when you hit the intro button and Mateo and I didn't think you could see us, and we're throwing on our shirts to match each other to surprise you when we come back on camera, and you're watching us idiots change.
But unfortunately, they can't see that because it wasn't recorded yet.
Yeah, but in my head, I'm all like,
it's recorded in your head forever.
Well, what do they think is happening right now? When you guys were devising this fucking Ocean's 11 version of how you guys were gonna like surprise me, because you guys are like, oh look, we're dressed up like Batman, you know? I mean, I can watch it. I can see you guys doing it.
Oh my god,
that was good.
You see, I'm really sad because I don't know if you can know this, but I'm so much more present.
Yeah,
like right now when we're doing it in person.
Yeah,
when we're
for sure,
online.
For sure,
it's nice to do it in person.
So sad. It would be so much better to do that in person, but it's impossible unless you guys come and live in Italy.
I mean,
I'll live in your house for your fucking compound.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll move into your house.
The
Wi-Fi sucks though.
Yeah. But we wouldn't have to be streaming. We'd just be recording.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We could do
Done deal.
The Mevos will
We're
make
getting
it
close
so
to a deal,
easy.
guys.
Yeah, you're gonna get fucking Shawn excited again because you're coming up with this
Yeah,
idea,
in about
I'm gonna
4
be like, I
hours.
don't want to fucking do it. And Shawn's like, come on, you're the guy.
And 5 years from now, we're gonna be recording an episode entirely in Italian
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
because you would have learned by then.
Dude, I don't know. Do you remember when I was trying to learn it hardcore, and I was getting a better understand? Like I
Oh,
can
you were?
understand. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I was,
there's been a
'cause
time.
I'm
But
gonna-
you weren't around yet.
Yeah,
But he was.
You
he
were
was
barely
planning on-
born.
Yeah.
I
is what
wasn't,
he's.
I wasn't alive.
No, around us.
Yeah, I was doing it. I was
It was
learning
early,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was doing it pretty hardcore, and I could pick up
How were
conversationally.
you? What were you using to learn it?
Oh gosh, it was Rosetta, something like that. Something like
'cause
Rosetta Stone.
I'm gonna start doing Duolingo.
Yeah, that's easy. That's a lot of fun.
Is that for what, Italian?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
man.
what-
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, but hanging out with them made it so much easier to
Sure.
understand
Well, that's
it.
what- yeah,
to
that's what I
understand it
mean.
in context.
Well, yeah. If
And
you
they
go
were-
full immersion, it's
they were
that's so
they were
different.
spitting it out, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, I can understand 1/10 of that. That's kind of fun."
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, exactly.
And they were cheering me on like a small small
Who's
undeveloped
they?
between him, Elia, and the people that we're hanging out
Yeah.
with, Michele.
Yeah.
Right? They were like,
Oh,
"Oh,
when-
you understood that."
When
and like,
you were in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, we did an hour.
Is that an hour?
Yeah, we're an hour and 3 minutes
No,
now.
let's stop the thing.
Okay.
Let's start checking each other off.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.
What? While jerking? Shawn up.
The Inkpulp Podcast.
Hey guys, my new sketchbook, Dumb Shark, is finally out.
That's great, Fratello. Congrats. Eric, what do you think?
Wow, Matteo. This book has really changed how I think about art. The style, the details, the inking techniques, not to mention the colors. Everything on this book is off the chart. You are so far ahead of any other artist, especially me. I know I always say I don't like your Mr. Freeze book, but that's actually a lie. I was just jealous of your incredible talent because I love everything you do, and sadly, I know deep in my heart that I'll never be at your extraordinary level. You truly are the best artist on planet Earth. This book is a game changer, man. I think everyone out there should go and order Matteo's new art book, Dumb Shark, before it sells out.
Gee willikers, Eric. That was an incredible endorsement. You really made me want to buy it. How can I get my hands on it?
You can find it on www.essentialsequential.com, or if you're in Europe, you can order it on www.pulps.fr.
Wow, Eric. I didn't know you were such a big fan of mine. Thank you. I really don't need to add anything else. You said it all.
What an asshole.
Wait, what?
My name is Yanza King Jr. and I'm a music producer. I always fell in love with music, period, when I was a baby. So you know how some kids are immune to a certain type of music? And it's like I have an ear for everything. I have a passion for it. Like I love it. The people. They make me feel better every day, even though if I go through stuff with deaths of my friends or anything, when I come in here, it's just like I feel like a uplift in my body. You can be yourself and do anything. If I mess up or do something wrong, it's not like, oh man, you messed that up, man, why you do that, man? But they help me. Not being myself around people, you know? It's just like I felt a different vibe when I came here, and then it's like I feel like, yeah, it's that place where I can finally be myself and I don't have to be judged. Everybody go through stuff. It's just like a test that God puts you through and trying to see if you can take it. It keeping me together because sometimes like people get bored and then they do stuff.
Right.
They do stuff that they don't have no business doing on all of that stuff. So I just feel like it just keep me going. Like, do the right thing. People have a future, and you don't want to mess that up. Yeah, I'm a loving and caring person. Keep on doing what I love. You know, what I got a passion for, because I don't want to go back to that other way.